In California, and my grandparents owned a motorcycle shop, so I grew up around dirt bikes and three-wheelers back in the day. And my dad was involved with the shop itself and would go to the local racetracks and support the shop. So as I got older and started riding on my own, I would go to these local tracks and ride and race and just really have fun with it. It progressed, and I got more involved at an amateur level and started traveling the country racing all the different amateur events. I would place nationally and really just had a lot of fun on two wheels and thought that would kind of be the extent of it. But as time went on and my dad's interest in racing continued to grow, he started working on a race team and then for a tire company. And through connections there, he was able to persuade a car owner to put me into a small off-road buggy. That led to an introduction to the folks at Chevrolet, and they have scouts all around the country trying to find emerging drivers. And I fortunately caught their eye, and fast forward through a variety of different scenarios, I found myself employed at Hendrick Motorsports and being handpicked by Jeff Gordon to race at the Sprint Cup level. So my career's had many different kind of facets to it, from dirt to pavement, 2 to 4 wheels. But I've always loved to compete and race, and the journey's taken me a long way.
Certainly has, all the way to the cover of Success magazine, which is amazing. So congratulations.
Definitely the highlight of my career.
Of course, yes. So Jimmy, I know the answer to this, but for those who don't know the finer art of NASCAR racing, how do you respond to people who classify what you do as just quote unquote making a left turn? What's your rebuttal to that? Or let's just say your description to the finer art of what it is really to be NASCAR.
Right. I mean, I get it. I was one of those guys, I guess, before I got into a NASCAR vehicle. Growing up in Southern California, my interest was IndyCar. I thought I was going to be an IndyCar racer, but my opportunities led to NASCAR and to stock car racing. And of course, I'm thankful it has the way my career has turned out. But these vehicles really suit my style and my upbringing. They're not stuck to the road like an open wheel vehicle. You're constantly sliding them and drifting them through the turns. You've got to manage your tire wear and the equipment itself, because they're big, heavy vehicles on these really intense tracks that you're in there wrestling the car around for 400 to 500 miles, depending on the race, 600 at one of our events. So depending on the race and the circumstances, you're very busy in the car. And sure, it's left on most of the tracks we run on, but it's a very intense and technical sport.
So obviously there's a lot more to racing than simply getting in the car and turning left. So describe for us, what's the hardest thing about what you do day in and day out? If you were to boil it down to a few things.
A couple things, really just the schedule. We have 39 races in 41 weeks. So the year goes by pretty quick. 36 of those races are for championship points. So managing life, and now that I'm a father of 2, that's really probably one of the tougher aspects of my career. There's so much needed to keep the team advancing, variety of meetings through the week, then of course the responsibilities at track, maintaining sponsorship relationships. I have well over 100 obligations that I have for all of the sponsors that are on our race car, in addition to my racetrack duties and team duties. So that's number one. When you get into the sport itself, I think what separates myself or a good driver from another driver is the ability to slow things down and feel what the car is doing. So my job, of course, is to drive it, but more than anything is to slow it all down and sense what the car is doing and what I'm not comfortable with. And then I've got to verbalize that to the team so that we can work on mechanical or aerodynamic adjustments to the car to make it more comfortable so that I can go faster. So those are probably the top two.
Let me ask you, so you're raising some really important points here that I think anybody listening can relate with when it comes to the demand of your schedule, number one, and then your need to constantly grow and advance your team. And then you made a point that the way that you succeed in the car is to try to slow it all down, which seems to actually be an answer to getting through your schedule as well. In the moment that you're moving through the 100 different obligations you've got, you need to slow it all down so that you're not trying to manage this all in your head at the same time. But when it comes to the two things you said are the hardest things to do, managing your schedule and advancing the growth of your team, Tell us a tip or two that you do to keep sanity with that crazy schedule that you've got. How do you manage through that then?
Some days I feel like I'm doing well and others I don't, but truthfully, having the right people around me is a big part of it all working. Great partners, the folks at Lowe's, and they're my primary sponsor on the race car. Open dialogue with them and truly understanding their marketing program and how they want to use us. Those 100 dates that I mentioned, they're a big part of that. So I guess communication, once again, with our partners, if it's the team or sponsors, that's a big aspect. And then for me, I need an outlet. I mean, obviously driving the race car is something fun for me to do, but I've found that training and it also serves my job as well, but being on my bike or going for a run, just something in that space has been really good for me. Clearly it helps me physically, but mentally, I'm able to slow it down even more. I'm able to think things through, have an outlet, spend a little me time. It really has been a great outlet for me. So
3 really great answers there. Number 1, communication. Number 2, surrounding yourself with really great people. And number 3, making sure you have a personal outlet so you don't lose your mind.
Exactly.
That's true for every great entrepreneur out there as well. So I have an interesting question for you. A while back, we had Mario Andretti in Success Magazine, and when asked, one tip that he would give to becoming a world-class race car driver, his answer was, don't look at the wall. And I thought it was interesting because I'm like, really? That's it? Your best tip to becoming a world-class race car driver is don't look at the wall? And he says, oh, no, that's a really big tip. He says, because your car goes in the direction you point your eyes. And if you look at the wall, that's where your car will end up. And I'm like, whoa, that's a really good tip. So if I were to ask you, what is, in your view, like the best tip that you could offer to becoming a world-class race car driver? What would your answer be?
Yeah, I've got to go with patience. And when I was a young driver, ready to roll and ready to make things happen, I was told by so many, be patient, things will happen, things will come. And that's the last thing I wanted to hear. But as my opportunities were there and in front of me, most times I was impatient and tried to, if it was on the track, force an issue, or maybe I didn't handle something right in the press or didn't handle something right in another situation. If I would have just been more patient, things would have been much smoother and easier for me. And I guess my career, I got my start at the top level. I was 25, almost 26. And you look at NASCAR drivers today coming in, they're entering the top level at 18. So I kept hearing this whole thing about patience through my career, and I'm like, I can't be patient. My opportunity isn't going to come. I'm not going to get my chance. I did. It eventually happened when the timing was right, and that really cemented in the whole concept of patience for me, and I've been able to use it ever since.
What an interesting answer. So for my 40th birthday, my wife bought me a Maserati race school in Italy, and I thought you watch race car driving, you're like, I could totally do that, right? Just like you look at art and you're like, I could do that, right? So we go out there, and the hardest thing for me to get my mind around is you're going around a race course at 150, sometimes 200 miles an hour. The instruction I kept getting from the Formula One driver was you need to relax. You need to loosen your grip and you need to relax. And it's like, it was the opposite of what my brain thought. We're going faster. We're trying to be more intense. How do you relax in going so fast and being intense? So that was a really interesting takeaway. When things get most intense is when you actually need to relax the most. And when I went around the track with the Formula One driver, I was shocked and amazed about how relaxed he was in his arms, as well as within his performance through the whole thing, and the way that he could manipulate that car. It gave me a whole new respect for the sport. So it's really analogous to life as well. Maybe you could speak to that when you're inside the car and you're going at the rate that you're going in. Can you talk to that idea of doing the opposite of what your brain really thinks it needs to do and relaxing in the moment? Yeah, and I mean, of course, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it. And I mentioned earlier the sensitivity you need to have in the car, and to be
a hero in our sport, a tenth of a second is all you're looking for. And if you think of a 2.5 mile race course and all that goes on and all the inputs the driver gives to the car, to be a tenth of a second, which is the amount of time it takes to blink your eye, that makes you a hero or a zero. So the more relaxed I am, the more connected I am to the car, the more calm I am, the more I feel. And it's not an easy thing to do. And as you experienced out there on the track by yourself, now put 42 other cars out there and all the pressure and all that goes with it. So it's most times easier said than done. But when you get in the zone, and people talk about the zone in all types of sports, that's when you're totally calm, totally relaxed. You can see it all, you can feel it all. And you don't get it every day, you don't get it every year. Some may not even experience it. I've been very fortunate to experience it, and I think that's what happened on the 6 years I've won championships. So it is an amazing experience when it happens, and we're all trying to find it and searching for it every day.
Yeah, it's very interesting because in life, as an entrepreneur, when things get intense, people run around faster, right? They spin more plates, they run around faster, they need to look busier and look like they're, putting out fires all day, every day, when in actuality, what they should do is the same thing you're doing in a race car going 200 miles an hour, which is you need to relax and become more sensitive. And as you said, I love that line, the difference between a hero and a zero is a tenth of a second, is how you perform in the blink of an eye. And you're not going to be in optimum performance unless you are relaxed and completely sensitive to the environment around you. And I want to go back to the other key point that you made about performing in your profession, and that is the advancing your team. Talk about what you do as the leader of the team to maintain cohesion both before and on race day. What are some of the things that you're doing sort of as captain of the process?
Yeah, for me, in the way my team unfolds, we have what would be considered the head coach, is called the crew chief in our world. And he has the daily interaction with the team and truly leads the team where it's going from a technical aspect, functionality of the team, budget of the team, who's crewing the car, going over the wall. Like, he makes all of those decisions. He's really the head coach. And I'd be more like the quarterback. I certainly have involvement. He asks for my opinion. I help make decisions. But in my dynamic, and especially a part of the way my team works, I'm more of their friend. My crew chief asks a lot out of them, and he pushes them hard, and he drives them to be the best and always give 100% and holds them accountable for the smallest mistakes. Well, I can't come in there and do the same thing. I mean, everybody can only take so much. So my role is to really come in and kind of, love on the guys, take care of them, take them to dinners, take them to lunch, connect with them, talk through, issues with them. And then it fits my personality. So, my role may be kind of developed due to my personality, and certainly my crew chief's is developed off of his personality, and we fit together.
So at Success, we're here to help people pursue the never-ending journey for the best within inside them, this constant and never-ending process of growth and development. Give us an inside look to what you do day in and day to stay sharp and continually learn and grow both in your profession as well as personally.
I don't know if there's a silver bullet in any of those departments, but there's a desire and a hunger that I have to be a better person, a better father, a better husband, a better teammate, a better race car driver. And, there's just things that I feel and things that pop up in my mind where I'm like, I think I could be better here. And I try to listen to that voice. And I've always been very driven to improve. And I continue to chase those voices and see them through. So from, my training regimen and what I do there, the involvement I have with my kids, I have a 2 and a 5-year-old, and I don't want to miss moments. So I'm traveling sometimes back and forth on race weekends to catch soccer games. My wife has just opened an art gallery here in the Charlotte area, and supporting her and helping her pursue, passion that she has. Again, there's no silver bullet, and there's days that I feel like I've got it all under control, and other days I'm wondering what in the world did I just start. But those voices in my mind or in my head that just keep asking me to improve or suggesting improvement, I listen to them and I pursue them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great answer. There's no silver bullet, and you're just listening and responding to the voice inside you that is prodding you for growth and improvement. Excellent answer. So,
absolutely.
I've read a lot about you from the eyes of your competitors. You beat them a lot, and yet they still seem to love you, or at least, let's say, respect you. Explain why you think that's important for what you do and how it impacts your success.
For me, I mean, that's all I can ask for. I don't expect to be liked or loved by all, and it's not what I'm in this for. You know, I'm a competitor in competitive sports or a competitive environment. You're not there to make friends. You're there to succeed. You're there to win. You know, I do appreciate being respected. I choose to treat people how I want to be treated, as basic as that may sound. And I feel like I can exist in a competitive world with integrity and honor, and choose to go that route. So some people don't like it. I think it irritates some of my competitors. It certainly irritates some of our fan base. But I am who I am, and I would do myself a disservice if I didn't be myself. And I just continue to try to be myself and pursue the things that I feel are right in my heart. And you know, competing at a high level is really high on that list, and I love chasing it.
That's excellent. Now, Jimmy, something you encounter often is disappointment or failure. So give us some insight how you personally handle it and how you help your team handle the disappointment of losing races.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest part. I mean, you put so much into a season, a week, a month, a particular event, whatever it might be, and to fall short, you know, there's different levels of disappointment that come with it. If we just got beat and we put in a great performance, it's easy. There's more work to be done. We need to improve in a certain area, and it stands out, and you know, we're going to accomplish that, and you march forward. If the bad's on you and the mistake's on you, that's tough. I mean, that's a tough thing to swallow, but I've found that through my mistakes and through those tough moments, I've learned more about myself. And those mistakes that I've made along the way, I think have shaped me into who I am. I've met with some sports psychologists before and been told that my view on mistakes and how they motivate me and how much I spend time thinking about them so I don't make that mistake again, that I have a negative point of view on my sport, and that I'm bringing negativity into it and creating issues. And I'm like, no, I'm being real. Like, I made that mistake, I don't want to make it again. Mm-hmm. I can't sit there and look at flowers and fairies and roses and say, oh, this is perfect, and I'm going to drive the perfect race, and every pit stop's going to be great, and every driver's going to move out of the way. That's not the reality. So we're all driven by different things, and different things sit with us and motivate us. And for me, my career has been shaped by mistakes, and I'm very glad I've had those mistakes, because they've been the most powerful moments in my life, and the most growth I've had has come from those moments.
Excellent answer. I agree wholeheartedly. Like that perspective a lot. So define yourself outside of NASCAR and racing. Who is Jimmy Johnson when he isn't on the track or in front of the cameras?
I'm a dad worried about carpool. Got two children at two different schools and 2 different hours. So when I'm home, try to take the pressure off my wife and let her take care of the work she needs to. So I try to keep it as simple as possible. And I've grew up very simple, and I feel like my life is as simple as it could be, that I can create. And I enjoy my time with my family. There's clearly responsibilities that come with it. But we do love to travel as a family. We love heading to the beach. We love to be in the mountains. I'm an outdoors guy. I like to be active. If it's surfing, cycling, snowboarding, snow skiing, whatever it might be, I love to be outside and active.
Now, along those lines, people have described you as a man who makes everything look so easy. What do you say to that?
I'm surprised to hear that. I guess I just have a look, or I think I process things slowly. So within that, I put off some kind of calm confidence that people think makes my job look easy, or whatever that opinion is. But honestly, I'm like a duck. It may look that way on the above the water line, but below the water line, my feet are moving really fast.
So last question for you, Jimmy. Give us your definition of success. Here you're talking to Success Magazine. What's your definition of success? When you've accomplished or have X, you'll consider yourself successful.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope, because it's easy to maybe put a monetary goal out there, or a title, but I don't know. I mean, and I've been very fortunate to have crazy success in my career, and I look back on it and I'm so proud of it, and I remember the fight to get to that point and what I had to overcome to get there. But it's kind of short-lived and it's in that moment. And it's more about balancing life and enjoying your life. And I guess having children's changed that perspective some too. And I don't know, it's about finding kind of happiness in a way. If it is chasing a title, then that's what it is at that point in time. There's no guarantees that's going to be the thing for you the rest of your life. So I guess staying flexible and just following what feels good. I think you're successful when you're able to do that consistently.
That is an excellent answer. So, Mr. Jimmy Johnson, I have to tell you, I really enjoyed our time together here, and I can see why you are a champion, not just because of what your Wikipedia says about your results or even some of the descriptions of how you've gone about doing it, but really the mindset behind it, the philosophy behind it, the attitude, and the character behind all of how you do what you do to achieve what you have achieved is what I think has made you such an extraordinary champion. So we really appreciate you being here with us at Success and sharing some time and some insights with us here. Thanks so much for being with us today, Jimmy.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, what a great interview with our cover guy, Jimmy Johnson. Did you take good notes? If not, don't worry. I have some thoughts to share with you to get those wheels turning. Jimmy Johnson is a busy guy, speeding from thing to thing. Pardon the awful pun. Really bad. I'm so sorry. Anyway, he gave 3 good ways that he deals with being so insanely busy. Number 1, having the right people around you. It comes back to that team thing again. Do you have the right team surrounding you so that hectic and busy times are more bearable and productive? If not, then it's time to evaluate and see what you can do to change that.